Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Chicago. Got about 26 degrees here on February the 5th, 2026. There's the Hazel Johnson mural to environmental justice in the city. She's got a nice information on the internet if you want to look up Hazel Johnson. I think the muralist is Mr. Super A from Netherlands, and he had some help painting the murals. I guess that's his style there, Bambi. Well, it's just how it wraps around there, kind of the interesting, like postmodern cubism, whatever it is. So here we'll cross the street here. We're at Michigan Avenue, and this is Lake Street, Loop, Chicago. We're gonna do a nice easy walk. We'll just head through the ice skating here while we're still got ice skating. Hey, Sabrina Bernard Garden. How you doing there, Jason Taylor? How you doing there, Krista Hansen? David Akoa, how you doing there? Yeah, Grandma's Corner. How's everybody doing? Hey, frozen pipes, frozen pipes. You don't have to worry about that in LA as much as we do here. And here we got Nutella, Nando's, Stan's Donuts, Bubblicious, Garrett's Popcorn. We're on Michigan Avenue here. Near Randolph. If you look that way, there's the Wrigley Building, the Carbide and Carbon skyscrapers here on Michigan Avenue. Hey, Garrett's Popcorn, get the caramel and cheddar mix there. Hey, Auntie Ann, Cinnabon, Rainbow Cone. This stuff's open now. It opened last year. And, so I got a little wind. There's the Cultural Center, Pittsfield Building. Leslie, how you doing? Leslie Hurley. So, we'll just head through the snow here, take a nice crew lunch walk. See, there's the bike memorial there. Somebody lost their life. Here, I'll show it to you here real quickly. See, there's somebody, every time you see a bike memorial like this here, Yater Yak, Castaneda, 2007 is such a tragedy. It's a bike memorial. There's a bicyclist lost their life here, right at Michigan and Randolph. It probably was a left turn or something. I don't know the circumstances. There's the elevated CTA train there on Wabash. Loop of Chicago. Here's the street wall of Michigan Avenue. Yeah, Prince, how you doing? Punch. Yeah, Pete. Hey, they're eating some, I like their outfits there. They were eating some crumble cookies. Yeah, one Gold Nubian, thanks for being on there. The real Caleb M, how you doing? Pete Martinez, Perfect Martinez, how you doing there from Hazlet, Michigan? Yeah, we know where that's at. And hey, the holiday deals, Joe Osco. You know where we're at, Millennium Park. We're here all the time because I work near here. It's easy for me on my lunch break. Just to, yesterday we dashed over to the West Loop. I barely have enough time to get over there and get back. I missed most of the comments because I was rushing the whole time. So I must smack my lips a lot. Some people are telling me that they hear the clicking noise. It's my smack my lips. Like that. I'll start speaking Swahili. You get these clicks and cheek noises in your language. Here's, hey, there's the squirrel. The squirrel's standing on that garbage. Nick Hoykin got some really good close-up footage of a squirrel, much closer than I got. It was eating a giant acorn or something. See how the squirrels, they go in the garbage bins here in Millennium Park here, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. We got 12:10 in the PM. Let's say hello to the squirrel. Millennium Park, see there's Trump Tower, the Smurfit Stone building. How you doing here, squirrel? You playing in the snow? Look, it's got a, it's smelling the, it was smelling the lid there. So the ice skating rink must be all messed up. They're not letting people ice skate here. And the Zamboni's not running. Are they shutting this thing down already? I don't think, I think I'll have to check to see how long they're going to keep running the ice skating rink. I don't know if they run it till March or not. Now the Maggie Daley ice skating ribbon lasted longer. See, this is the ice skating rink here in Millennium Park, or Washington Street. This is where the Christmas tree was removed. Hey, Lambie T, how you doing here? KXK. Hello. Army on. Very cool buildings. Army on. Hungary. Budapest. Yeah, Budapest. You saw Vic's. Yeah, you got a good. There's a squirrel. There's a Chicago squirrel on the snow. Foraging. Yeah, we got a lot of squirrels here. Glad you saw that, Lambie. That's good. So, Millennium Park. Hey, we'll check out the ice formations on the beam there. Oh, somebody left there. Levain Bakery. Hey, even in wintertime, 24 degrees, 26 degrees Fahrenheit, -5 Celsius, we got people out here taking pictures in front of the bean. There it is, Great Bean in Chicago. D. Michael, you had 78. Hey, it's heating up in the Mojave Desert. That's good. Glad to hear it. Dan the man. Yeah. Christy. Scott. Charlotte. Yeah. Free the Zamboni. Hey, people taking pictures in front of the bean. Look how they got the snow on the top. It looks like an egg. How you doing? So it was snowing. It was snowing a little bit. I was hoping the snow would have came down when I was walking to work, but characteristically, as soon as I got to work, I looked out the window and it started snowing. And so it snowed for a few hours, like from like 9 to 10 o'clock in the AM here in Chicago, and then at least by where I'm at downtown, and now it stopped. So it didn't really accumulate, but it looked pretty. And there's people checking out the bean. Come on, my bean. You know what I mean. Come on, Eileen. Who remembers that song? Whatever they called, the Midnight Runners, the Oxy Midnight Runners, whatever they were called. Here's hey, the Great Bean of Chicago. There's the skyline. So here we'll head around. We'll go across the BP Bridge. I see people walking across there, so hopefully it'll be okay. They got the Nichols Bridgeway. I don't know if they got it open or not. But today, what's today? Thursday. Looks like they got it closed because they didn't clear off the snow. So they don't want people walking up there because they didn't clear off the snow. You can connect to the Art Institute by going up this Nichols Bridgeway. See how it connects right to the modern wing, crosses Monroe. Wes, how you doing there, D. Michael? Yeah, Christy. Denise. Yeah, they're taking photos of the bean. Thanks for tuning in, user. So here's the magic hedge. Remember that one time we saw the cat in wintertime? There was, I think somebody had adopted that cat. Not me. Here's the Pritzker Band show here, Frank Gehry. Of course, he passed away, the architect, end of last year. So here's Frank Gehry's Millennium Park masterpiece here. Pritzker Band show. Hey, there's the squirrel. What do you say, squirrel? Hey, you wanna be on YouTube? So let me alone here. So look how it's climbing on that mesh. It's climbing on the mesh there behind the trash can. Yeah, Nas. Yeah, hit the like button. Yeah, thanks, Nasty. Yeah, if you hit the thumbs up there, if you like this, only it helps more people find this. Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll head across the BP Bridge. We'll head over to the Maggie Daley ice skating ribbon, and then I'm gonna head over towards the lake, see what Monroe Harbor looks like, see if it's all frozen inside the harbor. Say they got this blocked off, which is fine. We'll go across here, head across the bridge. Yeah, it's beautiful. See, I'll show you some skyline views when we head across here. How you doing? Yeah, Army on. Carla Murray. 2 stream caps equal 2 likes. That's good. Or equal 1 like. Yeah, Central Park. So this is Grant Park. I guess you can kind of make comparisons to Grant Park, Central Park. Central Park is in the center of Manhattan. Grant Park is about half the size of Central Park, but it's a large park, and it borders Lake Michigan. And it's right smack in the middle of the downtown central business district between all the high rises and the lake. So you see the south loop down there. This is the whole loop. And that's Lakeshore East. We're going to cross Columbus Drive. There you can get a nice... I think they replaced a lot of the seats. They replaced the seating. There's the bean where we were just at there. Millennium Park. We'll head across this bridge. Hey, Lorraine. Yeah, beautiful park. Thanks, Mars 2. You were here? Yeah. Welcome to Chicago. Here we go. We'll head across. Hey, they cleared a path here. Here's Columbus Drive. There's the south loop down there. We'll head across. Yeah, Laura, how you doing there? Buenos dias. Yeah. First time. Hey, Snell, thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, so this is Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. I work downtown, so a lot of times at lunchtime, noon to 1 Chicago Central Time, we got 12:17 in the PM right here. We take a nice walk either through the loop, or yesterday we went along the frozen river walk, went to the west loop. Today we're heading towards the Maggie Daley ice skating ribbon. They got ice skating in this circular track. This is Grant Park. That's Millennium Park, where the bean, that's where we just at. You can rewind if you want to see the bean there. So we'll head over to the Maggie Daley ice skating ribbon part of Grant Park. And we'll head over towards Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. We got about 26 degrees Fahrenheit, and we got -5 Celsius. It's Thursday, February the 5th, 2026. Hope you're having a good day. Yeah. So I guess we got the Super Bowl coming up. Seahawks versus the New England Patriots, Seattle Seahawks. I'll be rooting for the Seahawks, and hope it's a good game. I'll watch Bad Bunny. I have no problem watching Bad Bunny. I have nothing against Kid Rock, besides we disagree in politics, but that's his right. You know, he likes guns and beer a lot more than I do. And I used to like beer a lot. Beer didn't like me. But I guess there's some... what's going on? Is there like some alternative, like MAGA-friendly, like halftime show that people are supposed to protest by not watching Bad Bunny? I'm not on those email lists, you know. So what channel is it going to be on? Newsmax? You know, where's Kid Rock going to be that's not on in the internet? I don't know. Fox News? I don't know. Yeah. 75 for the high. Mojave Desert, D. Michael, that's good. Green Day's playing before the game. Hey, I'll tune in to watch Green Day. I'm an American idiot. You want to be an American idiot? Yeah, Green Day, the Rain Boy. We'll turn in for that. Yeah, punk band. I remember when Dookie came out in 1994. I remember the first time I heard Basket Case on the radio. I was like, that's gonna be a hit. And same with Offspring. You got to keep them separated. Remember, all those came out in like 1994, Green Day and Offspring. It's because MTV started milking the punk. They said we can monetize the punk because, as you know and I know, but the grunge people, and we didn't realize it when we were going through there, Nirvana was really a punk rock band, but people thought it was a heavy metal or an alternative band. I guess you could label Nirvana certainly as alternative, but really at its core, and Dave Grohl will tell you the same thing, Nirvana was a punk band, like punk rock. Here's Rink Cafe. Yeah, Michael McDonald. Yeah, Michael McDonald. Is that his name? Am I saying it right? I'll have to scrub out this music because it's copyrighted. But hey, let's head around the Maggie Daley ice skating ribbon here. See people skating around the... It has several curves. It kind of undulates. It's not exactly level. It has some terrain changes. It's got this clover leaf loop of a track. It curves both directions, but mainly sometimes they reverse it, sometimes they go counterclockwise, sometimes they go clockwise. Now it looks like they're going counterclockwise on the Maggie Daley ice skating ribbon here. See how, look at this nice ribbon. I don't know what the official length is. Probably like 1/8 of a mile. UK, how you doing there? Rob on the road. No freedom of speech on YouTube. I know, well, you think YouTube's bad, TikTok is worse. We left TikTok. I used to stream on TikTok, now I stream on YouTube because I can say the word marijuana on YouTube, but I can't say it on TikTok. I get a demerit. Even though it's legal in the state of Illinois. Isn't that amazing? But here, hey, welcome to Maggie Daley Ice Skating Room. Look at those little bubbles. I guess you could rent those bubbles. I don't know. I've never seen anybody in those bubbles, but I guess everything for a price. Here, Line Stars skate reservations. Get your skates. There's the prices here. Maggie Daley Ice Skating Ribbon, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America. So they got their skates. Bring your own skates. You can jump on for free. Javon, how you doing? Jamaica, I like the flag there. Yeah, Rob on the road. Denise, Javon. Yeah. So you get coffee here. They got concessions. Get hot chocolate and coffee and freewheeling here. The freewheeling Bob Dylan. There's yeah, Maggie Daley Ice Skating Ribbon here, Chicago, Illinois. We got about 26 degrees. Enter at your own risk. So if you bring your own skates, you can skate for free. If you don't have skates, you got to pay for the rental, and that's what supports the upkeep of the ice skating rink here. So here are people heading around here. Yeah, ice skating here. So I grew up in Indiana. I grew up a farm boy in Indiana. This is Chicago. So I moved to Chicago in 1999. This is my 27th winter in Chicago. I live in the city. I don't have a car. And I've lived in the city without a car for 27 years. And once you get used to living that way. Now, I do have a driver's license. I do drive. We did drive to Texas. I'm not the best driver in the world, but I can drive. But here's the Maggie Daley Ice Skating Ribbon. Yeah, this is Chicago. So people ask where this is at. The Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. It's called Maggie Daley Ice Skating Ribbon. It's Maggie Daley Park. There's a really nice view to the Sears Tower. And yes, I call it the Sears Tower, even though technically it's called the Willis. Most people of Chicago of a certain vintage, we're set in our ways. We call it the Sears Tower. There it is. So here's the Maggie Daley Ice Skating Ribbon. Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. We got 26 degrees here, -5 Celsius. Here, people are skating around here. Look at that. Yeah, the whole group there. Very nice. So here, we'll keep going. 12:23. Yeah, cold front. Yeah, we can walk together. Yeah, so Maggie Daley was the wife of the second Mayor Daley, the son. Richard J. Daley was the first mayor of Chicago, the older one. He passed away in 1977. His son, Richard M. Daley, was mayor of Chicago from around 1990 to 2010-ish, around there, 20 years. And he was actually mayor longer than his father was. And his wife was named Maggie Daley, and she died of cancer around 2010. And so they named this park, which was already built and planned in her honor anyway. And oh, there's the geese. The geese don't want me talking there. I didn't mean to chase off the geese. They headed over to the safety of their numbers there. Hola, how you doing there? Yeah. No, that's a geese. That's not a duck, it's a geese. But we got ducks. There's the top of the John Hancock. So here, Blue Cross Blue Shield. See, they got elevators. There's parking underneath. There's a parking garage underneath all this. See this? See how it says Lakeside Garage Entrance? There's a parking garage down there. It used to be called the Monroe Parking Garage, but I guess it's part of Millennium Park there. Yeah, the geese. So here, this used to be, Lakeshore Drive used to come right through here, but they rerouted it. They did a curve there. So now this is the Cancer Survivors Park, Maggie Daley Park. They did a Cancer Survivors Park. My mom was able to see this, you know, when she would visit before she passed. She died of cancer just like Maggie Daley. Different type of cancer, but cancer's still a bane on our existence here. Several people tune in and are dealing with it with family members or themselves. See Cancer Survivors Plaza here, Richard and Annette Glock. These are some of the older buildings that were built here in the 70s and 80s, I think, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And they were all by themselves for a long time. But here we'll cross it. I think they're going to let us cross. Okay, good. There's a nice view of the Chicago skyline back to the Sears Tower. We're over by Field Boulevard, and we're on Randolph. We're crossing Randolph Street here, north of Grant Park. Let's head down to Lakeshore East here. This bubble thing, there's a pool in there. And howdy, how you doing there, Grandma's Corner? Yeah. Burning. Oh, you're a lymphoma survivor. Well, hey, glad to hear that. Mars tub. You're freezing? Yeah, it's cold. Still winter time. I'm getting tired of the winter too. Once you get to February, you're really tired of the winter. We might get some more snow tomorrow. But yeah, Ernesto, Chicago Nuggies, already warned me. He said there's going to be snow tomorrow. I said, hey, thanks for letting me know. Thanks again, everybody that's supporting Ernesto. You know, they still getting over the. You never get over death in the family. And thanks everybody for supporting Ernesto. What can we do? It's hard, you know. I feel so helpless. Here's Benton Place and Field. They call this Benton Place. It's this one-way street that loops around here, Lakeshore East. This is Lakeshore East. So Michigan Avenue's that way. There's the Aon building. You can see the Aqua building by Jeannie Gang. So let's see, which way do we want to go? Yeah, let's head this way. See, so this was planned to be this way. So they planned these townhome things and these apartments, lower scale buildings behind the higher towers. And they tried to, I guess they were trying to make some human scale here, so it didn't feel like everything was 500 foot tall high rises, but it is. You know, and you kind of feel like you're down in a hole here. But yeah, it's hard. Grieving is hard. Yeah, Lambie. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you lost your brother to liver cancer. Yeah, Lambie. Yeah. So our family members that we've lost, just like my mother, just like your brother, they live on in our memories and they're part of us. And we need to honor their lives by just remembering them and you know, death's a part of life. I don't, you know, it's the human condition. We all struggle with this in our own mortality, and it reminds us of it. Here's Aon, Aqua. Yeah, in the warmer months, they turn on these fountains, which is nice. So we'll walk. We'll stay down low. I'm out of breath as it is anyway. As much as I walk, you think I'd be in better shape. I think I got carotid arteries or something. Got some. It's just because when I talk and walk, I get out of breath sometimes. Here's UPS. Hey, you can take the elevator here. There's a Mariana shopping cart all the way over here. There's a You can take the elevator up. We've done that before. But here we'll leave Lakeshore East Park. Hey, there's a nice dog there. We'll head right through. Hey, how you doing there? Nice doggy. How you doing? I like your pajamas. That's good. That dog was ready to go. Yeah, thanks, One Gold Nubian, for everybody for having empathy for all of us that lost family members, and I know you all of us have lost family members. That's the human condition, you know. It's above there. Hospital with your mom. Oh, it's proving slowly. Rob on the road. Well, we hope your mom has a full recovery. Thanks for supporting her there at the hospital. That's yeah, I know I ran into people, you know, we would cross the hospitals there in Streeterville and people would watch just like you from the hospitals there, and they'd run down and say hello. I said appreciate it, you know, and they were supporting family members that were in the hospitals there in Streeterville in Chicago. So hey, we're in good company here. Hey, look at the steam coming out of the vent there. There's a bike path here. Somebody must have broke a window. Hey, people are walking the dog. They take their dogs over to the lakefront. And that's probably why this Cascade Bark, it's probably a nice amenity if people have dogs in these buildings, but you just walk underneath or you go a little further, you get to the lake, so that's probably why this dog park's not well used. I hardly ever see anybody using it. There it is, Cascade Park. See that bone? That's the top of 400 North, the 400 Lakeshore. Look how we'll get a really good view of it once we go under Lakeshore Drive here. No, it's horrible. Yeah, sending prayers there. See, everybody's helping each other out. Thanks for being a nice, kind, empathetic audience that cares about other people. You guys are great. See, we got a good audience here. People that is trying to do the right thing. Nowhere safe in America. I, as you can imagine, I get that safe question multiple times every single day, no matter what neighborhood I go in the city, no matter what it looks like, no matter the demographics of the neighborhood, I get that exact same question. And the answer is, I hate to say it, is we're not safe anywhere in America. You're not safe in the suburbs, we're not safe in the city, you're not safe in the airport. You know, just take precautions as much as you can. It's like driving on the road. You got to have insurance. You got to take defensive measures. Always plan ahead and do the best you can. You know, look how this is the bike path. This is the lakefront bike path that goes across, or goes along the whole Chicago lakefront. There's the Columbia Yacht Club. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Get some. How you doing there? Welcome to the Lunch Bunch here, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. We'll show you the frozen harbor here, DeSable Harbor, Lake Michigan. See, there's the lighthouse. That lighthouse is a mile out there. That's the mouth of Monroe Harbor, and Navy Pier is right there. See the Ferris wheel? That's the Ferris wheel, Navy Pier, Chicago, Illinois, Lake Michigan. There's the Coast Guard station. And here, let me pan out here. Here's, oops, sorry. Here's the DeSable Harbor. So in the summertime, there's tons of big boats here. Now we just got one boat. There's a big plane overhead. That's the Columbia Yacht Club, and you can join that. And hey, there's somebody ice fishing. We finally saw somebody ice fishing. I tell you, people ice fish. So there's somebody fishing in DeSable Harbor there. I don't know if they got a hole in the ice or not. There's open holes there, just like that. And hey, there's the 400 Lakeshore. So let's go over and check that out. See how you can finally start to see it's terracing in. So it's starting to get near the top. Remember, we watched that thing come out of the hole in the ground. That's the former Calatrava Spire site. That's 400 Lakeshore Drive, that residential development. There's supposed to be 2 towers. They're just building the first one. Much speculation if they're even going to start the second one or not. We don't know. It's up to the developer and their financing and how they could sell all those units in that first one first. Well, actually, it's luxury rental. They could rent them out or lease them out or whatever hour they're going to do it. Yeah, they got it up fast. Look at that thing. Look at that thing. And imagine if that was the spire, it would have been like 3 times as tall. There's the one, there's the St. Regis. This is the buildings here in Lakeshore East. So I'll head up this way. So actually, if we go this way, we can cross the river. Let's see if there's ice in the river. Yeah, so this is the Coast Guard station. I don't know if they call this the Great Lakes base for the Coast Guard. There is the Great Lakes Naval Station. It's on the north suburbs of Chicago. It's up towards the Wisconsin border, the Great Lakes Naval Academy. It's a beautiful campus. It's an historic campus. John Philip Sousa Navy marching band was at the Great Lakes Naval Academy. They got pictures there. Stars and Stripes Forever, that was a military marching band. And John Philip Sousa, so many great songs that he composed. Germany, how you doing there? Thanks, Chef Clock. Chef. Am I saying your name right? Coke. Chef Coke. We'll say it that way. I was trying to say somebody's name there. I did go to school with somebody. He had a German last name just like I do. And his last name was F-U-C-H. How do you think it was correctly pronounced in German? And he would often joke, the teacher would call his name and they'd say, Mark Fuchs. He's like, you're not pronouncing my name right. And the teacher would be like, you're not going to get me to say it. Here's 400 North Lakeshore. That's Lake Point Tower there. Yeah. More construction, yeah. So, getting a few flurries here. There's Wacker Drive. There you can clearly see the Stack City. There's Upper Wacker and Lower Wacker Drive. That's where you enter Lower Wacker Drive. Remember the Blues Brothers? And so you can ramp up to the upper level, and that's how you get to the, that was a satellite trick. That's how you get to the Upper Wacker Drive in the St. Regis. There's the Fred A. Bussey. So we saw the Christopher Wheatley, which is this park just down at the Coast Guard station, the real working fireboat. But the Fred A. Bussey's retired, and they use it for touring and architectural tours and things like that. So hey, Lakeshore Drive structures, 1987. The reconstruction, the original construction was 1939. 1938, 1939 is when they built this. That's used for DeSable Lakeshore Drive over the Chicago River. Franklin Delano Roosevelt came to Chicago for the grand opening of this bridge. And it was before World War II. It was a public works project, well, infrastructure project during the Great Depression. Try to get the economy going. There's the Coast Guard, the Fred A. Bussey, the fireboats. Here's Navy Pier. So this is the frozen mouth of Chicago River. Somebody yesterday was asking me if they could get to Lake Michigan from the river. You can. You got to go through. There's a lock here, and it looks like they're working on it. It looks like they're working on the lock. So I guess right now, maybe that's why they're asking. Right now, I guess you can't get to the lake because they're doing maintenance work on the one lock you got to go through. And you see how the river is pretty much the same level as the lake. It's just, it's like a 6 inches difference in the water levels that keeps the water flowing in reverse out of Lake Michigan. It flows towards the Mississippi, the opposite direction, because they cut a canal that way, the Illinois Ship and Sanitary Canal. Here's the lakefront bike path for crossing the Chicago River, Chicago, Illinois. United States of America, planet Earth, how you doing here? Hey, there's that building here. Yeah. I'd like to order number one. Where's the negative Nancy at? We always get one. Yeah, the lake is higher than the river. The river's a little lower, so that's the way they want it. That's how they reversed the Chicago River. They had to literally dig a 30-foot channel so the water would flow the opposite direction. Isn't it amazing? That's how flat and swampy Chicago was. It was only like a 30-foot ridge that divided the Mississippi watershed from the Great Lakes watershed. And here we're on the lakefront bike path here in Chicago, Illinois. There's Lake Point Tower, there's Navy Pier, there's the Ferris field. Hopefully, eventually, see, they're just using this for parking for the construction workers for this 400 North Lakeshore. We'll go by it here. There's supposed to be a park here. This is a brownfield redevelopment site. This was the site of the factory that had the radium clock paint, where the people that worked at during World War II, they would make watch faces and clock faces, and they would use this glow-in-the-dark paint, and it was radioactive, and people would dip the brushes in their mouth. Well, they got cancer. And so this was a brownfield site because the soil was contaminated by that industrial use. And this whole area around the Ogden Slip, where all this housing is in the mouth of the Chicago River, was heavily industrialized 100 years ago. And that's why Navy Pier was supposed to be a shipping pier. Big barges would come in here, but now everything's flipped and there's hardly any industrial at all here. And it's all luxury residential and high-end office buildings. And the nature of the downtown changed, as all downtowns change over time. And it's still changing. This is called Chicago. This is Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. Thanks for tuning in there. That's Lake Point Tower. This is Lake Michigan that way. And that's Navy Pier. This is called the Ogden Slip. So we're going to head down. We'll go down the Ogden Slip. Let's see if the Rita's there. It is artist hideout there. But see, they line up all the water taxis. They use these in the summertime. Not as much in the winter. Chicago River's still passable, but it's frozen. It's big ice chunks. Yeah, the Windy City, you got it. Thanks for tuning in. Man, thanks, Rock Fan. Yeah, it is cold. It looks cold because it is cold. It's winter time. It's February. 26 degrees Fahrenheit, -5 Celsius. But we're used to it by now. We've been walking all winter. You know, some people deal with the heat, rain, humidity. No place is perfect, even San Diego weather. I've been in California when it rains. People don't drive when it rains because they can't put the top down in their convertible. And, let me just go up. I'm not going to walk all the way down to Ohio Street Beach. I'm just going to go and zoom in. See, this is Illinois Street as it heads into Navy Pier. So here's the frozen Lake Michigan. So this is looking north. And you can see if I zoom in, you see we might walk in along the lake tomorrow. Well, it's supposed to snow tomorrow. The blue's open water of Lake Michigan. All the white is ice. So the ice sheet is extended further north towards Fullerton. So we might have to walk back up towards North Avenue Beach. It's supposed to snow tomorrow, so we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to work from home tomorrow or head to the office. We'll see. But here, Lake Point Tower. Oprah Winfrey used to live there, but she doesn't anymore. I don't know if she still owns property there or not. There's the 400 North Lakeshore. It's starting to top out. Residential high-rise, the former College Travis Spire site here in Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. And we'll head down these stairs. We'll go down the Ogden Slip. We got 12:42. So I got 20 minutes to get back to the office here. See if we can make it. 104 degrees Fahrenheit. There you go. Where's that at? 102 in Ohio. Yeah, it gets pretty hot. Even in Chicago, every once in a while we'll get above 100 degrees in the summertime, but not usually. Yeah, USA. Yeah, there's a lot of drug abuse in America. We know that. But there's drug abuse everywhere. You know, alcohol abuse. There was who used to go to Tooman's. If you went to the way to the west side, if you went down, what street was that? Damon? No, not Damon. Division. One of those streets, way on the west side in Westtown. It was called Tooman's. It was the Alcohol Abuse Center. That's what they called it. It was a bar, and they had this little sign there, and they called it the Alcohol Abuse Center. I remember the first time I went there, it was in the 1990s. It was like 1997. We went to the Alcohol Abuse Center, and there was a guy. He worked at the gas station, and he had like the mechanics overalls on, and it had his name on it. It said like Chuck or something, and he was passed out. He was passed out at the bar, and they just let him lay there, and it was called the Alcohol Abuse Center. And we were all drinking to Chuck. It was nice. We were underneath Lakeshore Drive. Tooman's, I think it was called Tooman's. I'm so sad that the Twisted Spoke shut down. Remember the Twisted Spoke? It had the skeleton on the motorcycle. That was at Ogden and Grand Avenue. They used to have the smutting eggs. Nothing lasts. The exit's gone. The Twisted Spoke's gone. People just don't drink like they used to. And I don't drink anymore either. So I'm part of the problem. I know. I used to support all those businesses, and I don't anymore. But the Matchbox is still there. You can go on Milwaukee, go up to Wicker Park, go to Nick's. But, hey, here it is. There's the 400 North Lakeshore. Look at it going up there. So we got February the 5th. Look at these cars they parked here. February the 5th, 2026. We're starting to top out the 400 North Lakeshore here. We're at Saba Lakeshore Drive and the Ogden Slip. You got the tender service here. This heads over to Leclerc Court. This is Streeterville. See, there's the top of the St. Regis. There's the 400. This is all residential, luxury residential. South Africa. Yeah, 40 degrees Celsius is pretty hot. Yeah, once you get, even 30 is hot, but 40 is really hot Celsius, yeah. You're way into the hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, heroin's gone. It was pretty much over when Pulp Fiction came out. It's hard to have a customer base when most of your customers die of the product you're giving them, and that's heroin. And I wouldn't recommend that for anybody. Stay away. Here's Industry. Here's some of the boats docked on the Ogden slip here. Chicago, Illinois. Hey, there's a nice view to the St. Regis. That's across the river, but there's the 400 North Lakeshore. They got this outdoor seating. There's a Mediterranean Greek restaurant here. I think it's called Pinched. Yeah, tell me a place in the world that you're safe. I don't even think you're safe in Singapore. The safest place, honestly, I'm an American. I grew up in America. I haven't traveled abroad as much as other people, but the safest place I have ever felt in my life was in Tokyo, Japan. And as far as a city, Tokyo, arguably the largest city on the earth, has the least amount of crime, and it has a lot to do with the Japanese culture, I know. Shows you Americans' cultures, you know, so even if people call America the greatest country, we have some of the worst crime statistics, and so that always is a hindrance, you know. And Japan, amazingly, has much less crime. And why is that? You know, America has the Wild West culture. It goes back to our violent past. If you don't think America's a violent country, it's always been a violent country. Talk to the Native Americans. Talk to the indigenous people. Indigenous people in America have experienced violence for 500 years. They've been constantly attacked, herded up, marginalized, excluded. Their testimony wouldn't be allowed in court. And that's not even the African American experience. The African American experience, violence for 400 years in this country. Forced labor, wasn't allowed to vote, didn't even have their freedom, you know. So we should celebrate that things are much better than they used to be. But this inertia it still haunts us. The Wild West, the gun-loving culture of the Wild West is part of the American, and we pay a price for that. People call it freedom, but it comes at a cost. You know, freedom at the barrel of a gun. There's the St. Regis. And this is just my opinion. See Robert's Pizza, Prince Stripes, Winter's Jazz Club's there. Dorita Art. You got the boat tours. But here, let's head back to the river. Let's see if the river's frozen. See if there's chunks in the river here. So here's the Ogden Slip. There's the 400 North Lakeshore. See, we saw from all sides. We walked around that building. If I told you it was going to be taller than that one, look at it. And look, there's the Liqueur Court, the Tribune Tower. There's the St. Regis. No, I'm not saying Japan doesn't have... Okay, that's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. Japan has an amazing violent history. If you look at the Shogun era, that's true. So why is that? I want your opinion. If you can help me out, I'm trying to understand this. So how did Japan go from a country that had an amazingly violent history and was the perpetrator, the aggressor in World War II? Japan had a kamikaze culture during the war, which was hard to fight against. It was like the suicide bombers of, you know, 9/11. You know, it's hard to defend against that when people are willing to give their life for an attack. But how did Japan go from why did Japan go from being a very violent society in the Shogun era with, you know, samurais and beheadings and things like that? How did they go from that to having the largest city on earth with the lowest percentage of crime? What changed in Japanese society to make that happen? I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah. No, I agree with your statement there. Blacks did not start the violence in the United States. It was driven by colonialism. It was driven by westward expansion, the white Anglo-Saxon Christian Protestant culture that came from Europe and was successful at conquering this nation. It was right of conquest. Very violent how it wasn't just peaceful treaties and smoking the peace pipe. It was a 400-year war for the conquest of Canada and Mexico and the United States, indigenous cultures, and they were conquered. We were conquered. I'm part of it too. But because it happened so long ago, I have ancestors that assimilated because that was their way of surviving Here's the Chicago River. Here's the Chicago River on February the 5th, 2026. I'm walking downstairs. That's why I'm being hesitant here. I don't want to slip. Here's the frozen Chicago River. Look, it looks more frozen today than it was earlier in the week. It all packed up here. All the jagged little pieces of ice refroze. Here's the Centennial Fountain. We showed this last week with the snow on it. So we're supposed to get some more snow tomorrow. We'll see if it happens. Yeah. Culture and respect. Humanity, culture, respect. They accept that there are better ways than violence. What a great comment there, Rob, on the road. We could learn something from the civics of Japan. But Japan has its problems too. Japan's not a perfect society too. It has patriarchy problems, and it has... Japan doesn't like immigration. And I guess because it's an island, they don't have as much problem with people going across land borders as Europe and the United States. But even Mediterranean doesn't block anybody from trying to cross the Mediterranean. Talk to Greece and Italy about that. But so there's the Trump Tower, Chicago River. We got 26 degrees Fahrenheit, -5 Celsius. There's Lizzie McNeil's. Say hello to Darren Monroe. But yeah, here's the Sheridan Hotel. Here's the St. Regis. This was by the frozen Chicago River. 12:52. Hey, thanks for joining in on my little lunchtime walk. I wish we could solve the world's problems, but even if we had the answers, convincing the rest of the world to agree with us would be the hardest part. And yeah, get some hot dogs. Yeah, it looks better when it's white than it's green. The white river. It's not the green river. It's the white frozen river with snow on it. Yeah. Yeah, Japan still has corruption. Yeah, anywhere there's money, there's corruption because there's always temptation to embezzle. You know, it's just that's good there. Yeah, why would the world agree with us? I know, especially my weird opinions. You know, I got some weird ideas. That's why I got to talk to you guys. You guys keep me grounded. You're like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis? We should have elected Gary Coleman president when he was still alive. Arnold from Different Strokes. So here, the Columbus Tribe. They're supposed to have a documentary about him. Did that already come out? I missed it. I saw a billboard about that. Gary Coleman from Different Strokes. He was born north of Chicago, just like in the suburbs, just like, or he grew up there briefly when he was a kid, just like Robin Williams did. But they didn't stay. They didn't stay in Chicago, but they have a connection. Here, let's head up these stairs. We'll cross the Columbus Drive here. Hey, Chicago, Illinois. We're by the river, frozen river. Head up the stairs here. And we got 26 degrees, -5 Celsius. What time is it? 12:54. Hey, nice dog. How you doing there? It's because it's cold. It's Chicago. It's wintertime. There's not even many people here in the summertime. And I prefer it that way. You should have saw what it looked like during the pandemic. We still haven't recovered from the pandemic. Everybody moved to Florida and Texas. And they watch my live stream. They say, we miss Chicago, but we live in Texas and Florida. So that's why there's nobody here. They don't miss it in the wintertime, though. And I don't blame them. So there's the NBC Tower. There's the Tribune and the Intercontinental Hotel, Trump Tower. There's Columbus Drive. See the grade, how you can look straight down to the river. That's why yesterday we crossed the Kinzie Street Bridge, and that's why the Dave Matthews bus tried to dump their waste contents, but there was a tour boat going underneath, and they stunk everything up. Hey, there's the frozen river. Yeah, I got some pizza. I ate 2 slices of pizza before I started this walk, and I got another slice of pizza there at my desk when I get back. So I eat before and after I take the walks. Thanks for making sure I get something to eat. You know, yeah, I'm well fed. I'm a 250-pound, over 6 foot tall, large mammal here. I can stand to lose some weight. Here's Chicago River, Wacker Drive. See how they see the. This is lower Wacker Drive, upper Wacker Drive, where they're walking up there. Here's the Aon building. So hey, we'll head up these stairs. See the 3 levels: lower Wacker, that's where they tow the cars. Regular lower Wacker, which is this, that's lower Columbus, and then upper Wacker next to Michigan Avenue. Taco Rio, Island Party Head. Yeah, no crocs, no crocodiles. There was an alligator in Humboldt Park, but it was in the summertime, and then they fished it out. They had to get a guy from Florida. That was a few years back. Who remembers when the alligator was in the lagoon there in Humboldt Park? They called it Chance the Snapper. Remember Chance the Snapper? Somebody's alligator pet or something. They got tired of it and threw it out in the park there. Do the alligators freeze in Florida? I know the iguanas drop out of the trees. They're invasive species, but the alligators aren't invasive. Hey, Wacker Drive, St. Regis. What time you got? 12:57. Okay, we'll just head back to Michigan Avenue here. Yeah, Chance the Snapper. Of course, we got Chance the Rapper. Chance the Rapper, Ernesto. Well, actually, Alexander Chicago got some good footage of Chance the Rapper. So did Overtime Seb. And Ernie and Jose covered the New Year's Eve celebrations. There's the frozen Chicago River with the Wrigley Building, Intercontinental Hotel. There's the Trump Tower. Yeah, today's dinosaurs. You're right, One Gold Nubian. The alligators and crocodiles were around. They pretty much looked about the same during the age of the dinosaurs. Isn't that amazing? They haven't changed for hundreds of millions of years. And that's the amazing thing. If you think about it, everything's equally evolved. You know, we look at like lower organisms like insects and stuff. They've been that way for 500 million years. There were insects that looked like insects 500 million years ago, and they just stayed the same. They didn't adapt or change, and other ones adapted and became something else. Spiders have been around for a long time. Longer than humans. Here's on geological time. There's the John Hancock. That's in between that's the signature, Optimus signature there. There's that housing there. Hey, Ernie's tuning in. Hey, Ernie, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks for letting me know about the snow. I guess we're supposed to get snow tomorrow, right? Yeah, we'll see if we get any accumulation. It's supposed to start snowing after midnight, and probably when we stream in the morning, it'll be snowing. But here, you know where we're at. Ernie knows where we're at. Columbus Drive. USA. It's 3 Celsius. Alvin, thanks for tuning in from Saskatchewan. 3 degrees Celsius. So it's warmer in Saskatchewan than it is in Chicago. You're above freezing. That's good news. Send that weather our way. You've been dealing with like -40 or -30. Here's yeah, all my Canadian friends here. Hey, Chicago, Illinois, the frozen Chicago River. It's looking nice. So here, we'll head over to Michigan Avenue. Yeah, we'll let this city scene emerge. Yeah, there's the John Hancock. Look at that Equitable Building. It used to be called the Equitable Building. Now they just call it whatever it is, 400 North Michigan. There's the Tribune Tower, the Wrigley Building. So hey, let's keep it focused on the Wrigley Building and the Tribune Tower. So, okay, the Wrigley Building was built around 1921, I think. The Tribune Tower was, it says on it 1925. I don't know if it was complete in 1925, but both of these were built in the 1920s. The Intercontinental Hotel was built later, like that used to be the Medina Athletic Association, just north of the Tribune Tower. That's where Michael Jordan's steakhouse is. It was built like 1928, 1929. Now the Trump Tower was built around 2009. The Marina Towers was built 1968, 69. This building was built around 1970. The 333 North Michigan is probably the last one to be built before the Great Depression, 1929, 1930. The London house is a little older. I think it was built in the mid-1920s. They didn't build this bridge until 1910s, 1920s. This road we're walking on, Upper Lower Wacker, was built between 1910 and 1920. And so by the 1920s, they widened Michigan Avenue. Michigan Avenue didn't exist in its current form until the 1920s, early 1920s. And that's why they built these buildings to bookend it. And see, we just missed, that's the Jewelers building with the dome. That was built in 1925. They used that in the Transformers movie. That was built probably late 1960s. That was built in the 1990s, the NBC Tower. So here, let's head across Wacker Drive. So hey, thanks for checking out the scenes of the Chicago here. Wacker, Michigan here. There's, second tallest building in Chicago, the Twin Tower. Head across here. Fannie Mae, Black Hawk store. Got those round windows. This car must be broke down here. Gailey Hughes, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in there. Ernie, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hope you're feeling better. We'll talk offline. But yeah, thanks everybody for supporting Ernesto and his family there. They've going through a hard time, a tragic death in the family, but we're here to support you. And thanks for doing all you do, Ernie. You know, hope you're feeling better, and it's going to take a while. We understand. Here's the Mather Tower. The Mather Tower was built in like 1928. I don't know about this building. This was a hotel. Some of these buildings might be the oldest buildings. Some of these are old storefronts that go back to the 1890s that they keep like retrofitting. This building's really old too. They slapped a, well, it's not really old. I think it's from the 1920s. But I'm not for sure. I don't know if they changed the facade or not. It looks older. The front looks different. The side looks older. I wonder if they put a different facade. We'll look into this building. I'm not for sure about this building. There you can look down the, see how it looks older? On the side it looks a lot older. That's a cobblestone street. That's the lower level streets below the streets. We've been down in there. I got videos what it's like walking down in there. It's like a cave. You got loading docks and stuff. This Citizen M was built only about 5-10 years ago. It was built around the time of the pandemic, I think. And they're supposed to put a Portillo's there, but I don't know if it's happened or not. The Carbide and Carbon building was built in 1928, 1929. It was sons of Daniel Burnham. And I might be wrong. I'm roughly close enough. 100 years? Yeah, a lot of these buildings. Think of that. The Wrigley building's over 100 years old. The Tribune Tower is 100 years old. This is almost 100 years old, 1928. The Carbide and Carbon building was built by the sons of, or designed by the sons of Daniel Burnham, the architect. And so here we'll head across here. So I got to head back to work here. We'll be on after 5 o'clock. We'll do our walk home from work. It's supposed to snow tomorrow, so there might be some interesting footage tomorrow of the snow if you like the snow. Ernesto will be filming in the snow. You can watch him on TikTok or YouTube. I'm on YouTube. And if we stream over this weekend, it'll be on TikTok. Ernesto, I'll message you. There's in the South Loop, and I might go down there on Monday or Tuesday. They're having some Valentine's thing, and they invited live streamers if we want to go there and film it before. They want us to promote whatever they're doing for Valentine's Day. I don't know if I want to do it, but I know the auto show's going on. It starts, I got to look at the auto show. I think it starts today or tomorrow, the Chicago Auto Show. And then I haven't been down to Motor Row there on South Michigan Avenue in the South Loop towards McCormick Place there. So, hey, we're right back where we started. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day there. Thanks for the gifts, like, and follows. Thanks for tapping the screen. We'll see you later tonight. Yeah, see you, Elizabeth, Ernie. Yeah, we'll message about it there. Thanks, Winter. Thanks, Ron. Hey, Ron, thanks for the, well, Winter, Ron, $9.99. Whoever sent me the $9.99, either Ron or Winter. Winter. Thank you. Hey, Toronto. Hey, that's great. All right, Lambie T, we'll see y'all later. Okay, thanks, mods. Thanks, Rain. We'll see you later. Yeah.